So I think it's amazing how anyone can believe anything that people say in this world. So I've just watched a video where there was some woman talking about the cosmos, and when you die, your soul goes into another dimension, and being here is just about trying to raise your consciousness so you can get into that dimension. And before you were here, you knew you were coming here, and you know everything about your life, and you get to plan it, how you die, what you do, who you meet. You can hear people talk about this, and they talk about it with so much detail, as if they know exactly what they're talking about. And then you can come across other people. So then I've just come across a video where some woman, she started saying that she was a witch, and that she started believing in demons, and that she was controlled by the devil, and doing lots of Jesus, that sort of stuff, and then turned to Jesus later on. But she also describes this sort of starseed thing, and I'll just show you kind of what I'm seeing.
Look, like that's how I started to dress. Like
there was like a dress code for the type of witch you were becoming.
It was a different identity, and wow. I was really intrigued by the space thing, and that's kind of what opened the door to it. So what this whole starseed doctrine basically tells you is that the reason you suffer is because you're trying to help Earth, whatever. But the point of it is that you have chosen this life. Like, you chose to be here. So you picked your relationships, you picked your parents, you picked where you would incarnate, all these things for a very specific mission. So what that did was it made me look into my birth chart, because I came to understand my birth chart as my blueprint. Like, I picked my life, so I actually mapped out this blueprint of my life before I was born in the form of a birth chart. So now what this would allow me to do, this tool would allow me to then understand myself as like human, and what it was exactly I needed to work through in this humanness in order to help the collective. And like I said before, this like kind of Buddhist philosophy of this like integrating back to source.
Yeah. The birth chart is where you put in your date,
time, like where you're,
and then it tells you about you.
Right. So this is like deeper than just like, what's your sign? This is like, what's your moon sign? What's your rising sign? Where's your Jupiter?
Yep.
What's in your fourth house? Like we're so low vibe that we need like other intergalactic. I know it sounds wild.
It's fine.
It sounds wild, but people believe this, and I it because like you have a really specific purpose and mission on Earth, like all these things, even down to like the way I looked, and I'm like, wow.
That's why.
I'm literally like, wow, I'm from another dimension.
So you're looking in the mirror like, this makes sense why my jawline is like this.
That's why I'm tall, because I'm from a specific constellation, and I've come here. That's like the whole doctrine, is that that basically Mother Earth, our planet, was calling out to the universe as like an SOS call to the cosmos, like, I need help, like humans are destroying, like we're so low vibe that we need like other intergalactic. I know it sounds wild.
It's fine.
It sounds wild, but people believe this.
So here she's saying that there's a belief called starseed, and it's the belief that Mother Earth is calling out some sort of signal, and it's calling for souls from different planets to come to this planet and to be birthed into this planet. And she's saying it's crazy at this stage, but she says that she believed it. For years, she absolutely believed it, and she would have promoted this. And she even had, she says on this documentary that she actually had podcasts, and she was promoting this to everyone. So she had created this whole doctrine, this whole belief, and she was preaching it as if it was the truth. And in the last interview I watched, she was saying exactly the same thing, that she believed this, she was promoting it, that she was promoting, telling the world that this is the truth, and this is how it is, and this is what happens when you die, coming up with this whole belief system and promoting it as the truth.
This, and I believe this.
Well, it's funny because just the certain terms, I didn't even know Mother Earth came from this view. Like, people say Mother Earth all the time in like movies and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where it's all rooting from.
Yeah, so, there's no mother.
Right.
So yeah, like the idea is, so like,
this woman
Gaia, that's the name of Earth.
So she's obviously not got the truth. She doesn't know anything about me. She was probably closer to the truth before, and she's switched back to whatever. But I was watching this other video. It's a very long video, and I've made about 3 attempts to watch this, but it's 2.5 hours long, and I keep getting bored. But I was watching this too just afterwards.
Specifically, it mentions this castle. This gendarme apparently hosted a priest from Mexico in early 1996. A friend of the priest, a Dutchman, came to pick him up from the gendarme's home. This Dutchman apparently claimed that the Chateau d'Ameroy was a place where parties, as well as the satanic ritual sacrifice of children, took place. Councilmen, lawyers, and high-ranking judges in the government were all said to have attended orgies organized by Dutroux organization. And according to the Dutchman who wrote that letter, the one who informed him of this activity was a member of NATO, and he was an American. Apparently, this American participated in one of these rituals and was disgusted by it, and later returned to the U.S. But that wasn't all. Apparently, this priest who the Dutchman came to see was later in contact with the families of the 2 8-year-old victims of Marc Dutroux. But more came forward from author and conspiracy theorist Fritz Springmeier. Apparently, the castle is indeed used by pedophiles and Satanists and murder small children in a ritual called the Pink Ballet. Now, to put this into perspective real quick, the Belgian X-Files, I've read through every single page. There are hundreds of pages, and they're some of the most incredibly disturbing shit I've ever read. They're all essentially summaries of testimony or direct testimony from victims and witnesses of Dutroux's crimes that were, I believe, mostly, if not completely, deemed unusable in court. So they had hundreds and hundreds of pages of testimony of children talking about getting, naming people's names, talking about watching children get. I remember one of the things I read was this girl watched these men make another little girl, I don't even know how to say this, she had no clothing on, and apparently they made a dog do things to the girl, and then they allowed the dog to eat the girl from the privates up while she was alive, and they filmed this whole thing, and the men were laughing watching this. We actually visited the place where that was supposed to have happened in our Dutroux documentary, but that's just one. There's thousands of things like that these children are claiming happened, and the police completely ignored all of them and said that, yeah, this stuff didn't happen. These are just, we can't confirm that this happened because there's no witness that's going to speak to it.
Okay, so if you compare those two, so there are thousands and thousands of people right now that are claiming that they are from another dimension, that they've been born into this world, that they have, I don't know how many people are part of this sort of starseed generation, but there are lots and lots of people that are claiming that they're from another world and that they got to choose where they were born, what they did, there is absolutely no proof that they believe that this was the truth, that you can determine everything that goes on in your life, that you chose to come here, that you were from another world. And yet the number of people, if you were to find the number of people making these kind of allegations, it would be high. If you find the number of people that make such an allegation that, I remember being in my mum's fetus, I remember being inside the womb, and that's why you can't have an abortion because they are alive inside there, and then you can make videos of edit CGI versions of things that are going on inside people's stomachs and making it look like they're a living person, even though they're not, even though they're technically a live body, but it doesn't have a soul in it. But yeah, there's lots of people that have these, just whatever they want to believe, whether it be that aliens came, whether it be that they've seen like orbs, and maybe they have seen orbs, but maybe what they actually saw was just like a light flashing in their eye, or just something that they thought they saw when really they didn't, and then they start exaggerating it and making it. But he's saying that, there are thousands and thousands of people making these claims about child abuse. And I'm just like, well, how is that any different to the thousands and thousands of people who claim to see Jesus in their dreams, or in their having near-death experiences? How does that compare to the thousands of people that claim to believe in demons? How does that compare to the thousands of people that thought they were star children and from a different dimension? I'll just show you the beginning of this.
I spent 27 years of my life working for the devil. I don't want to give him another minute, and I don't want anyone else to give him another minute. 10 years ago, my grandmom died, and she was my best friend. It led me to a medium.
Like a psychic.
Mediumship is communing with dead people.
Wow.
I didn't know what I was doing. I just thought, wow, could I really talk to my grandmom again?
Grandma.
demons have been around forever.
Yeah.
They're very intelligent. They're gonna know things. They knew what I was doing that day.
You're in deep.
Well, this is still the shallow end. I get
That's
deep.
the shallow end, Angela. I don't know anything about the zodiac world or the astrology world. So what don't people know? Do you think there's a personality type that is more susceptible to come in a new age?
I think it tends to be women, and we see that biblically. The serpent went to Eve.
Do you have a thought on the Enneagram? Or
Yeah, I've done a whole teaching.
Okay, this is ridiculous. The serpent didn't go to Eve. There was no talking snake. This is rubbish. You were not working for the devil. You were just making up shit in your head. You were not part of some. You could call yourself a witch. Technically, a witch is just someone who practices magic. And if you were practicing magic, then I guess you were a witch. But that doesn't mean that the spells that you were casting were working. That doesn't mean that there's any truth behind that. And that doesn't mean that demons exist. And basically, she is making all these allegations that demons did exist, that the devil does exist, and that and then she starts talking about the star seeds and how she had there was a time where she started believing in the what's it, immaculate constellation. She was believing all the constellations and thinking that there's meaning behind it, or certain things are more powerful on certain days because of the constellation. And she's basically gone through a whole phase of having all these different beliefs. Now, if you would take her at any of these different stages, she probably would have come out and given a whole big story. Now, that guy who's saying that thousands of people are making pedophilia stories, how can you not say that maybe every single one of those people that were making out these pedophilia, not every single one, I'm sure it happened. I'm not, if someone has been tried, if they've been found guilty, and if they've gone to prison because of evidence, I guess that's proof that it happened, or that's evidence that it's probably did happen, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't put someone in prison if there's no reason. Unless, of course, it's just a bunch of people who hate someone and want to try and persecute that person by making up allegations. But here we have a girl who has admitted on camera that she has gone through lots of different phases where she believed lots of different things and she thought it was the truth, and she was basically just lying every time. If something's the truth, you don't start having different beliefs every single year of your life. And it seems like that's what she's gone through. Now, if she was the type of person that was to go on and make false allegations against people to try and, there's a lot of people that hate the government. If they can't get into the government themselves, they start hating the government because they start accusing them of doing things for whatever reason. They're angry about their life, they're angry about the tax money or not wanting to pay tax, and so they think, I'm going to get back on the government, and start accusing them of lots of different things. And there are thousands of people that would make false allegations against things like this. And then you've got other people that would say, if these people are coming forward and making claims and it's proven to be false, this is just proof that they're covering it up and they're lying. And it's just, this guy he was believing, what was he believing? He was believing that a child has been eaten alive by a dog from the vagina upwards. I mean, dogs can't even eat bone, and so it's just because it's mostly bone down there, and I don't think a dog would choose to. It's obviously not a true story. Dogs would only eat something that was meat, so the only way they'd do that is if you put like dog food down there or something. But I'm pretty sure they didn't. I'm pretty sure this is a lie. I have no evidence that it's a lie, but it sounds like a lie, and yet people like this people want to believe whatever they want. Whether it be you want to believe you're from a different realm, whether it be you want to believe in aliens from another space, whether it be you want to believe in Jesus, whether it be you want to believe that the government is all full of paedophiles and that all these kids that have come forward and said this happened to me and this happened to me, and I saw a child being murdered and stuff. People lie, and I think there's a lot of people that lie and they don't believe that other people are lying. They listen to the lies of other people and think that's the truth, and then they start saying, I'm going to lie, I'm going to start fabricating stories. But if you would have asked that girl all those different points, do demons exist? Why do you think demons exist? They don't exist. Do you think? And then you ask alien people, well, do you think aliens exist? Why do you think aliens exist? And a lot of the time they just lie. And I feel like also the memory of people's view on what's like real and what's not, it just kind of changes. And it's like I shouldn't watch any more YouTube videos. I really shouldn't. I'm not believing this crap, but it's stressing me out how other people are watching it. And I know that there's a ton of liars who are lying, and they're actually getting enjoyment from people that just watch these and believe everything they say, and just take sides of whatever narrative they want to believe.